Good morning, friends. Welcome to Coffee Talk. This is our place to hang out, to chat, to just enjoy some time together and to kind of reflect on what's happening in our week and what's happening here at Lakeview, and to just connect with you and to maybe even reflect on what's happened in the last week and what's coming up as well too. And so we invite you just to grab a coffee, to hang out with us. I'm sporting my Green Bay one today.
It's more like Teal Bay.
That's true. It's not green. It's teal.
Lost opportunity.
Chris is so on top of it today.
He's punny today.
You're in for a treat.
Yeah.
So so we invite you to just hang out with us week to week and to let others know that this is a good place to hang out. But what we try and do is we also try and connect it to what's also been happening as well too. So this last Sunday, we're working through the book of Mark. Pastor Jeff is leading us through that, and Chris challenged us to say, okay, let's consider how wonderful this was to just take some time just to have some silent prayer, and let's not let it be a week before we do it again. And so we're throwing that challenge out there as well too, but we also wanted to kind of reflect, okay, what does it look like even for us? Us professional Christians who are employed to be
that just makes it sound like we should have like hockey cards. Can we get a little pastor trading cards?
Pastor trading cards.
Professional Christian.
Yeah.
Make sure you note the sarcasm in all of it.
Just have your little stats about
Okay.
everything. Your purse
So-
per minute.
So we wanted to just reflect on that, so like what's a way that kind of practically plays out for you in this week, or has it played out already? I'm not going to ask if you've prayed or not prayed, but what does that look like for you?
I think the holiest answer is that we've never stopped praying.
That's true.
But,
Pray without ceasing.
Well, I'll say this since I started flapping my gums. I am not one of those people who can typically do well with the whole, I'm just going to sit here and be still and quiet, because the stiller my body becomes physically, the more active my mind becomes. And so it doesn't work, right? It's like my brain is everywhere, but whatever. So walking is actually a huge thing. So even just this morning, out for a walk, it's a great opportunity to think, reflect, pray, kind of wrestle through some questions, work on humor material, whatever the case may be. It's
You must have had a long walk because you had a lot going.
Yeah, it was it was a lot. But so that's important, right? I know that some people, they hear quiet time and they think, well, that's got to be it. I got to find a closet and I got to put a little cushion there just so it's slightly not uncomfortable, but really mostly uncomfortable. And then I'm going to sit there quietly and try not to think about how uncomfortable it is. And oh, now my leg's asleep. And oh yeah, I was supposed to be praying, but wait, was I just sleeping? How long have I been in here? And all of that stuff starts to go on.
Picture into the mind of Chris.
And I think it's the absolute opposite of what Jesus really wants from us. I mean, for some people that works. I want to be clear. Maybe that's you and you're like, no, that is how it works. And that's great. It's just, I love to give permission to all those who are a little bit like me and go, that doesn't work. Another thing that has worked over the years actually is driving by myself. Never with the kids in the car. I drive the kids, but if I want to actually connect with God, it usually doesn't work when you're reaching back to stop fighting and all that stuff, right? And throwing snacks and I dropped my whatever. So it when I was a letter carrier, driving mail routes or walking mail routes was a brilliant time. Maybe that's where a lot of this really developed. Going for 20 years it didn't work. Oh, and now all of a sudden here's something that's working really well. So
I would say that's the same for me. Being able to focus in on one thing, but also let my mind wander in that, right? So for me, driving. Or in the summertime, if I'm biking, and I don't have a podcast on, that's some wonderful quiet time. Even though I'm kind of enjoying the scenery and stuff around me, it's still very focused. But for sure, I think driving on my own.
I'm probably the guy.
Plus 4.5 hours of prayer in the morning, starting at 3 a.m. Every day.
I'm
While you're sleeping?
I'm more like the guy who. I'm almost the opposite of you.
And that's
I-
that's good,
If,
actually.
if I'm just the way my mind, like if I quiet my body, it helps me focus on what I want to be doing. So,
Sure.
so, but I do admit, like, getting out in the woods somewhere by myself is like running has been a good time where I'm not really feeling like I'm praying, but I'm with God. Like
Yeah.
my mind's kind of zoned out, but I will sing in my head, some songs that I are praising, or maybe reflect on scripture, or just find that my mind's gone, but then it comes back to that. So kind of like what you guys said. But when I really want to focus in on praying, I'll find a quiet space and read a little, and then wait a little, like set the timer and just be in silence, and then writing is good for me to write prayers out. There's a lot of different ways,
Yeah.
that I find for myself, which means that there's so many ways, like everybody different connect.
Well, I think there's probably 7 billion different ways to connect with God,
Yeah.
which is probably a good thing, because there's like 7 billion people on the planet.
Yeah.
In case you were like, where's that number coming from?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it everyone's unique.
Well,
and I think that's,
Yeah.
I think that pleases God. I mean,
Totally.
I won't do justice to the quote, but I found this, I think it was from a TED Talk actually that Rick Warren did, where he talks about, he encourages people to lean into their uniqueness, and that's actually when we please God most, is when we lean into the way that He uniquely made us. And I think part of that is how we are predispositioned towards connecting with Him.
Yeah.
And so often I think when people get frustrated with devotions, it's because they're trying to do devotion someone else's way.
Yeah.
And that's just a recipe for failure.
Yeah, that's a good point. One thing that I've really grown into more is praying with other people. Like the three of us will pray together a lot.
Yeah.
And just stopping, like when you mention something in your life and we just stop and let's pray for it, or or I mention and we stop and just pray. I've found that I've really, and I don't know if that would have started resonating unless I had my own private
Right.
time,
Yeah.
that I got used to praying. But now I'm really valuing those connection points with other people praying together. So yeah.
So we invite, encourage, and challenge this weekend and the coming weeks to be taking specific times, not so that you can do a checklist, great, prayed, done, right? But actually to focus in on, okay, so where's God working, and how's this sense of rhythm and routine happening as well too? And so even pointing towards something, we are going to, again this year, we're leading up to through the spring, we're going to do again Seek God for the City. And so it's Seek God for the City 2022. So if you've downloaded last year's app, I think it's actually a new app, so it's about $2.50 if you're using an app. Susan has also got us some books that you can order from her as well too. She has them in hand, I'm pretty sure.
I think she's bringing them to the office here.
She's bringing them here, and so
you can buy them.
You can connect with her, so you can either email the office or you can connect with her or us on Sunday morning and get a hold of one of those. And really, if you haven't done it before, what it is it's just 40 days of prayer from the beginning of Ash Wednesday to Palm Sunday. And it just takes you through some really good guided prayers and readings and just some stuff to think about. And then also, hey, here's 5 countries you can be praying for around the world. And so it's not just sit there and be quiet, or it's not just hey, go for a walk and then come up with whatever. It's actually something that leads you through and is really awesome. It's also something that can be done around the supper table. We've done it as a family sometimes as well too, and I think being able to run with that is awesome. So that's starting March 2nd, but you can get books and you can download the app in the next little bit as well too. Another thing that we're looking forward towards as well too is this Sunday, is the day before Valentine's Day. So there's lots going on.
AKA my mom's birthday, but keep going.
It's also the Super Bowl.
It's also
so,
Super Bowl
yeah.
on a Sunday, you know.
Not that-
so
Sorry,
You
Mom.
need to worry about that.
If I forget,
You're watching the.
but the week after is the weekend after is Family Day.
right.
And so we had said last week, hey, we want to kind of have everybody kind of mark something on their calendar. Chris, can you tell us more about that?
So, Family Day is an annual day recognized to hang out as families.
You don't need to tell us about the day.
I know. What are we doing? So here's, if you've been part of Lakeview a while, you know we love to talk about a family is, everybody's part of a family. We are a family of believers, but we're also a family of families. And so you're like, whether you're a single or a couple or I don't know, I'm losing the word for whatever 8 would be. You're a family.
Octet?
Is it an octet? Sure.
Sure.
You're a family, and we want to just get together a whole bunch of families to have a little fun. And so at 1 o'clock on the Family Day Monday, we will meet in the church parking lot and we'll go on an adventure. That's like separate but together. So you'll be in teams, most likely your family. In other words, so like there will be a Team Miller and we're gonna like I'll try not to make them cheat. And we'll go out and we'll run a challenge, kind of a little bit Amazing Race style around West Kelowna. And for some of you who are like, well, my family is just me, I'd invite you to put together a little pool of people that you would normally hang out with anyways. And if you want to compete as a team, you can be, I don't know, Team Single Ladies or whatever, and take us on. That's right. We got a soundtrack for you and everything. And you can do that. And we'll kind of run a course that should be about an hour and a half to take to do. And then we'll meet back at the church parking lot. And depending on where COVID restrictions are at, like right now we just can't do a public gathering like that. It would violate the rules. And you know that we don't want to put anyone in a compromising position. And so we're watching to see where that all goes. There's sort of some hints that things might get lifted. And if they do, then we'll have more of a meet up at the church rally plan for after it. And if not, then we'll find some way to share elements of the race with one another. And whether that, because at some point you might have to take a picture in different poses, or you might have to, find a few things along the route, different little challenges at different stops. And we'll see how we all do and crown a winner and just, kind of have some silly fun. And I think that's great for building memories. I know that when we get out of our routine and do something a little goofy and a little out there, that has potential for a really positive bonding moment for families and for groups of families. And so that's what we invite you to. On the Family Day Monday at 1 o'clock, we'll meet out in the church parking lot.
That's
Pretty
great.
great. Yeah. We're gonna win, but.
Says the guy who's
I was
only
trying to
been
push
here a year.
the competitive person here to say.
Oh, Jeff, we're going to make you find parts of West Kelowna you didn't even know existed.
Good. Yeah, that's
Cool.
great. I want to see some
How's your
veterans come
data?
out. and-
What is your data plan like, Jeff?
I don't have one, so I'm probably not going to be doing too
Yeah,
well.
like will going to the city office and picking up a map of West Kelowna be like advantageous to you? Like, hey, there's these tourist spots, or there.
You've got 2 weeks. Start memorizing all of Google.
Memorizing all of Google.
Just kidding. We don't want to. I don't want. It's not going to be impossible. We're just joking around because we don't want anyone to come to that and go, "This is impossible," and just be frustrated, and because that's no fun.
Will you be available for us to call? Hey, Chris, what's this mean?
Yes, and
there we go.
local calling only. Rates start at $1.95.
So,
I am not opposed to bribery. I will just say that. Anyways, you're about to cut in.
well, I was gonna say so we can't do like little gathering in that kind of sense. What I will say is that we didn't really say it because we were leading up to it, and then it was done, and then we walked away. But thank you to everybody who came to the AGM. Like, it was a lot of fun just to hang out and to see a good amount of people on Zoom, and it was enjoyable. And thanks to everybody for participating. Hopefully you've connected on that. Now, we didn't record it, so if you haven't been, if you weren't able to make it, talk to one of us if you have questions, or one of the people on on our leadership team, on our church board, or something like that. But yeah, any other reflections from the AGM?
Well, I heard that this was supposed to be my sabbatical year, and so I know some of you have questions about that. Is it, isn't it? And it's not, just to make sure we set the record straight on that. It'll be the following year, so 2023. And that this is not me announcing anything to the church and saying this is what, because that goes through the deacons. But there was some confusion. Some people asked afterwards, hey, are you, aren't you? What's going on? Did we hear? And so that's just so that we're clear, not this year, but next year.
Yeah.
If plans continue the way they are, right? That's not anything in stone.
Yep.
Who knows?
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, that's us. That's us hanging out. And thanks for hanging out with us. And we look forward to seeing you this Sunday. Hopefully you're taking some time to pray. Hopefully you'll download the Seek God for the City app.
Or pick up the book.
Or pick up the book.
Yep.
And continue to connect with the people around you and bring Christ to your world today.
You can use it in the intro. So I was driving with Micaiah this morning, and I don't know what I did. I woke up, my whole neck, shoulders here is just sore. And
Do we also silence our phones?
and so I said to Micaiah, just the two of us were in the car, I'm like complaining, I'm like, oh man, my neck is so sore. She's like, oh, did you sleep on it funny? And I'm like, well, I'm not laughing. She's like, oh, Dad.
Oh, there's many more eye rolls to come here.
She's like, yes. So